Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rebirth Summit 2025 Stories of Undying Courage. My name is Amy Peace. I'm the host of Passion from Pain, the podcast where I spotlight powerful voices from around the globe. I help individuals who have overcome toxicity, trauma, mental abuse, and are in the aftermath of that and learning to rebuild themselves and walk through the fire. And I am honored to be selected as an interviewer for this international summit featuring 100 plus inspiring stories of transformation and rebirth. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Miss Pauline Chilton. She's an author, podcast host, IT leader, and community builder whose mission is to amplify voices of resilience, transformation, and empowerment. Wow. She is the creator and host of the Pauline Chilton Show, where she interviews entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and experts who share their stories of growth and overcoming adversity. Also, co-author of Breaking the Silence, Voices of Survivors, Volume 3. Pauline courageously shares her personal journey of surviving domestic violence, overcoming trauma, and building a life of strength, resilience, and success. Her story and her platform inspires audiences to turn pain into purpose and take bold steps towards the lives they were meant to live. In addition to her over 20 years of experience as a realtor, Pauline is an author, podcast host, and serves in IT leadership as a help desk manager, where she oversees operations, mentors her teams, and drives process improvements. And beyond her career is the founder of Next Level Woman and the Pauline Chilton Experience event series dedicated to helping entrepreneurs and professionals elevate their mindset, heal from the past challenges, and thrive personally and professionally. Pauline is passionate about empowering individuals to embrace their stories, strengthen their resilience, and create meaningful impact in their communities. Her engaging presence, authenticity, and practical insights leave audiences encouraged to not only dream bigger, but act boldly. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to talk with you today, Pauline. Welcome to the stage.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm just really excited to get this started. So, what was life like before your transformation? Describe the situation emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Help us feel where you were.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was young. I was in college and I was modeling. And I met this guy that was just, I thought was amazing. Good looking, great to talk to. We had fun. We really had some chemistry. And so things were good for about, I would say about a year. And
Mm.
and I say good, but it was like good-ish. Like the signs were still showing up. There were things that were happening that, you know, people were telling me, "Hey, I don't know about this guy." And I was ignoring them, right? I was like, "I love him. He's so great." And blah blah blah, but really, I should have listened. I should have paid attention and saw the signs. And when the violence started, I was in shock. It was, at first it started with a slap, a black eye. Then I was 8 months pregnant and was beaten to the point where I had bruises all around my body. Um, and then I lost that child, and that was devastating. And I didn't even
Right.
have time to mourn.
Mhm.
Um, and the violence continued every day, day after day after day. And so it just felt like I was in this kind of like deep dark hole of darkness,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to turn to, especially after being told things like, "You made your bed, now lie in it."
Oh.
um yeah, so it was lonely.
Mhm.
It was very scary. And I'm a girl from the south side of Chicago. I grew up fighting. I thought I wouldn't see, I thought I would never meet somebody who scared me the way he did.
Mhm.
And so I was afraid, I was lonely, and I didn't know what to do, where to go, who to turn to. I felt like I'd never seen anything like this before. I'd never heard of anything like this happening to anyone before. So I felt like, I felt like that naivety where you're just like, how could I not know that people
Yeah.
go through this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And then it, I had another child, and then I had another child. Um, I left and I went back and I did the kind of yo-yo thing where I was back and forward. And finally, there was a point where it hit me, where I was just like, if I don't do something, this isn't going to stop, and I'm not going to live through this.
Wow. Wow. What an incredible, just incredibly painful experience. And I'm so sorry for the loss of your child. I can't imagine having to go through that on top of dealing with, the weight of the domestic violence. So I just want to point that out and point out your courage and your strength. In spite of everything that you've been through. It's just amazing. So what was that breaking point or turning point? Was there a major moment or situation that forced the change to happen? What happened? Take us there.
Yeah, so he was suffocating my child,
Oh my goodness.
and he did it more than once. And that again, it was, if this doesn't stop, somebody else is going to die.
Yeah.
And I did not want to lose another child.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the police.
Okay.
I went in front of a judge. I asked for an order of protection, and the judge granted the order of protection, handed me a piece of paper and said, "Take this to the sheriff's office." Now I was in Chicago. So I take it to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff says, "Well, the judge ordered us to go and retrieve your child from him, and you're going to come with us." And I said, "Why the sheriffs? And why not the police?" And they said, "Because police beat their wives too."
Oh my Lord.
So so this was a special unit in Chicago that only dealt with those kinds of situations.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rode with them, and I was able to listen while they served him and said, we came to pick up the child and her things. And so after that, I went to a domestic violence shelter. Now, I was sitting in the train station in Chicago, in Union Station on the floor. I didn't know if I had enough money to get where I needed to go. I know where I needed to go. I had called the place. I had arranged for some people to meet me there, but I didn't know if I would have enough money for a ticket. So I was sitting there, and it was winter. Um, I had a like a red wool trench coat, and I wrapped my son in that trench coat. My son was 5 months old. And so I was sitting there on the floor, and a homeless man walked by me and said, "Do you need a train ticket?"
Oh.
And I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Come with me. Let's go to the ticket window. I'll buy you a ticket." So he bought me a ticket, and he rode with me on the train, and we talked, and he said, "I'll ride with you until you get almost to where you need to go. Keep an eye on you, keep you safe." And to
Wow.
this day, I consider him an angel.
Wow. Absolutely. Holy. You're bringing tears to my eyes. These kind of stories just hit me in a different way. It's one of the reasons that I do the podcast that I do. because they do. They're very personal to me, and I appreciate your honesty and your strength and courage in telling these stories because they're not easy. And I love the angels that have that just stepped in for you. That judge who knew to not just send you to the police. That homeless man willing to give you the last of what he had to help you get away is just incredible. I mean, wow. Uh,
And
what did your transformation, I mean, feel like? What did that feel like in that moment?
it it's emotional for me because
Yeah,
every time I tell the story, I'm reliving it.
yeah.
But it was in that moment, I I know I felt some level of fear and uncertainty, but not the kind of fear that I felt when I was with him.
Mhm.
So I felt I felt like I was being set free. And even though I was leaving behind people and places and things that I knew that it was necessary to start over.
Yeah, absolutely. And that fear of the unknown, sometimes is what keeps us stuck in the cycle of the abuse. And then we get to that point that, our disgust for our situation outweighs our fear of what we don't know is down the other road. And I'm very proud of you that you made that decision to face the fear of the unknown. Because look at you now. Look at you now. So take us through the internal process, okay? Your fears, your breakthroughs, the healing, decisions, and steps forward from that moment. What did that transformation look and feel like?
Yeah, so after going through uh, it, when I went through staying in the domestic violence shelters, and I also had 8 years of counseling. Some was group counseling, some was individual counseling. I learned that there were so many people who were going through a lot of the same things. There were so many people who were victims of abuse and violence, and abuse, it doesn't discriminate.
Yeah,
There were people from all walks of life who looked different from different places, different economic backgrounds. But I'll tell you what, abusers, they do look for people that they feel like they can take advantage of, that they can that they can hurt and harm and control and own. They look for people that they think are weaker than them. Or I felt like in my case, I felt like he was looking at me as a challenge, as like the wild horse to be tamed,
mm,
the the wild animal that he wanted to train and keep as a pet, or whatever the case. Um,
mhm,
because I was already a strong personality, I was very smart, and so every victim is not weak,
right.
but there are abusers who will want to make you weak. So I
Ab-
had this determination inside of me to overcome that, to not see myself as a victim. I am a survivor, and I was going to be stronger every day after that. Because the thing is that after going through something like that, I was just like, you know what? I went through the worst. I went through hell. And and the way I saw it was that everything else was to be appreciated and admired, and it's like, like the sun looks brighter when you step outside, and those kinds of things. The flowers are prettier, and
Yep.
the air smells fresher. So I just had so much more of an appreciation, and just so much more determination, and I wanted to take advantage of every opportunity I had.
I love it. I love it. And I love your attitude. And one thing that you mentioned that I really want to point out is, the fact that you were already a strong person before this happened. And you often hear people, oh, I would never fall for that. I would never find myself in a relationship like that. But it doesn't matter, like you said, these people, they hunt you out and they accept it as a challenge. And so you'd like to think you wouldn't end up in a situation like this, that you were strong enough to avoid this. And it's just you don't know that. You don't know that. You can end up here no matter how strong you think you are. And I really appreciate you pointing that out because it's important to understand that. Um, and so in your healing journey and in your process of redefining who you are, coming back to yourself, who or what really supported that journey for you? Did you have people, faith, tools, or practices that helped carry you through those really hard times?
Yeah, it's really been amazing
Good.
because God showed up for me in ways I
Mhm.
never expected. There were there were so many friends and family that I had to lose touch with,
Yeah.
and not because, not necessarily because it was their fault, but because I had to keep myself safe by not telling people where I was.
Mhm.
But I also had friends who became family, and I
Yeah.
had strangers who crossed my path and took me in and gave me what I needed and gave my kids what they needed. And just it's when I say it's amazing, like it's really truly amazing how, divine timing is always at play, and how the blessings just flow. And even when your faith is low,
Yeah.
even when you're wondering why me? Why am I going through this? Or whatever, whatever it is, right? Because you could believe or not believe, or you could have lost your faith. Whatever, wherever you are in that level of your spirituality, I'm very deeply spiritual, but wherever you are in that level of spirituality, it's still amazing to me how things happen, whether you asked for it or not, whether you wanted it or not. God just shows up. Sometimes it's a check in the mail
Yeah.
when you were just wondering, how am I going to pay for this? And suddenly you get a refund of something that you didn't even know was coming.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's just amazing. So yes, I've had some friends and family and like I said, even people I didn't know who showed up for me and did things that I never again thought would be possible.
How incredible. And in those strangers, I often like to think that pop into our lives for just a moment to help push us through, that is, God coming in with that divine intervention, saying, I'm here to help you. I got you. Don't forget that. And I truly believe that. I do. So where are you now on your journey? So tell us how your life has changed and what's different now.
Yeah, I'm still on this healing journey.
Mhm.
I still am always working on myself, on my internal emotional and psychological self, right? Um, and and with that, I pray a lot.
Yeah.
I I have friends. I have great friends. I've got my kids. I have four adult kids who are doing great. I mean, they're making it, and they're working and they're going to school, and they're so well adjusted and all of that. I've got a husband who has been a father to my kids who, he didn't he wasn't there when they were born, but he loved them like they were his. The the career journey that I'm on, as you mentioned, 20 years in real estate.
Mhm.
Now I'm doing IT in a great company and leading an amazing team. And they're like family to me.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, and then I've co-authored this book, the
Mhm.
Breaking the Silence book. We just launched that, and it came out number one on Amazon.
Wow.
Um, I'm doing like farmers markets. I'm making candles and selling these handmade items that I just enjoy making, right?
Very cool.
Like I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, yes, and then the Next Level Woman event series that kicks off this year in December, and
Mhm.
it's right here in the Tampa Bay area. So the goal is to continue to have these in-person events to help people, because really the goal for me is to keep shining light in the world, putting out positivity, helping people. If I can save a life, if I can help somebody to just know that it's possible, that if you've gone through some pain, if you've experienced some adversity, we all do,
Yeah. Yeah.
keep going. Keep
Yeah.
going. We have to save ourselves and then we can save the world, right? So
Absolutely.
keep going. Pick yourself up and keep going. So that's what I'm doing now. I mean, it's such a drive for
Mm.
me to keep pushing forward. And there's so much going on right now.
Mhm.
People need healing. People need to know, like, we've been so disconnected, and people need to reconnect and help each other and lean on each other. And we're social beings, so
Yes.
it's so important for us to be there for each other. So that's part of what the podcast is about. That's part of what the event series is about. That's why I put myself out there in the community, all of those things.
Beautiful, beautiful. I just love everything that you're doing in your podcast platform. If you're watching, definitely go check out her podcast. So many stories of just courage and overcoming pain. What message do you have for someone that's still stuck or in pain now? If someone's listening, who's where you used to be, what do you want to tell them?
What I want to tell them is to take care of yourself, take care of your heart, take care of those that you love, your children, and find that little voice inside of you and just make it stronger. Find that little bit of light inside of you and keep stoking those flames and burn that fire until it gets bigger and stronger. Talk to someone. If it's somebody at work, somebody at school, somebody at your place of worship, reach out to someone because you never know if that someone can help you.
Mhm. Absolutely. 1000%. 1000% correct. Thank you so much, Pauline, for sharing your heart and your powerful story. Your journey is a beacon of hope for others who are in this situation right now. This has been another incredible conversation on the Rebirth Summit 2025 Stories of Unyielding Courage. I'm Amy Pease, and this has been an honor to host this interview as part of this global movement for healing and transformation. Stay tuned for more interviews from courageous speakers from around the world. Until next time, this is the Rebirth TV signing off. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.